Afternoon. So today we're going to be looking at dividing complex numbers. The first couple days, we did some simplifying. We did adding and multiplying complex numbers. So the next thing, logically, is to get to dividing complex numbers. So we kind of talked a little bit about this already. First thing, you should know what a reciprocal is. You're just flipping the fraction. So for example, 3x minus 1 over 2x. You're going to flip it and it's going to become 2x over 3x minus 1. So 2x over 3x minus 1 is the reciprocal of 3x minus 1 over 2x. The conjugate, okay, and I talked about this with radicals today and also with radicals as well as with I. It's used to clear the radical from the denominator, okay? So for example, I said x plus yi. The conjugate of that is x minus yi. And what you're basically doing on the bottom is you're creating a difference of squares. Okay, so if I give you 3 minus 1 and I tell you to find the reciprocal, well, that's going to be 1 over 3 minus 1. Well, I can't have I in the denominator because it's a radical. It doesn't appear to be a radical, but you guys know that it is. So I have to multiply by the conjugate. So the conjugate of 3 minus I is 3 plus I, and you're going to multiply top and bottom by that. That's going to give you 3 plus I over 9 minus I squared, which equals 3 plus I over 9 minus negative 1, which gives you 3 plus I over 10. Now this is okay to write your answer this way, but you also need to be aware that I can separate this fraction and make it 3 over 10 plus 1 over 10 times I. And those are equal, so it doesn't matter which way you write it, they're both going to be the same. Okay? So the first one, let's just start by simplifying this. So I have to simplify it because right now I have a radical in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by the conjugate, which is 4 plus I. 4 plus I. Okay? This is 1 times 4 plus I is just going to be 4 plus I over, this is 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative I is negative 4i, and this would be positive 4i. So then you would have negative 1 times negative I times positive I is going to be negative I squared. This is 4 plus I over 16 minus negative 1. Which is then going to give you 4 plus I over 17. And this is your answer. Okay? So this is just a simplifying problem where I'm giving you a fraction with an I or a radical in the denominator. And you're going to simplify it and get the radical out of the denominator. Again, same idea here. So I have to multiply by the conjugate, so I multiply by 7 minus I. Now this time I have 2 times 7 minus I, so I have to distribute, so that's 14 minus 2I over, now remember, it's a squared minus b squared equals a plus b, a minus b. Well, I have a plus b here. I'm multiplying by a minus b. So it's a squared, which is 7 squared, minus I squared, which is 14 minus 2I over 7 squared is 49 minus I squared. We know that I squared is negative 1, which gives me 14 minus 2I over 50. The last thing you need to do here, actually, because this is not simplified, I can still simplify. So I'm going to factor out a 2, which gives me 7 minus I over 50. 50 and 2 will cancel. The 1 becomes a 2, excuse me, the 2 becomes a 1. The 50 becomes a 25. And this gives me an answer of 7 minus I over 25. Okay? So just like regular fractions, you always have to make sure that you can simplify, that you can't simplify anymore before you stop. Okay, now the last one, it says to find the reciprocal. So the first thing I'm going to do to find the reciprocal is I'm going to write this as a reciprocal, 1 minus 5i. Now, this is not my answer because I have a radical in the denominator. So now again, you go to the simplifying part, which is 5 plus I over 5 plus I. This is 5 plus I over 5 squared is 25 minus I squared. This is 5 plus I over 25 minus negative 1, which is 5 plus I over 26. And there's my answer. Okay? Make sure you write down your steps. Okay? I'm going to start really buckling down on the steps, and if you don't have good, proper steps, then I'm going to start docking you points. So please make sure you do your steps, write down any questions you have, and I will see you guys tomorrow for class.